I'm just going to start off by saying that I'm not a huge fan of buzzwords that look like they were created to sell courses or certificate programs for people who want to pay to win in their careers. But I do think that the concept of growth versus fixed mindset is very valuable to think about. The growth versus fixed mindset was coined by Professor Carol Dweck, and she summarizes it this way. Individuals who believe their talents can be developed through hard work, good strategies, and input from others have a growth mindset. They tend to achieve more than those with a more fixed mindset, those who believe their talents are innate gifts. This is because they worry less about looking smart and they put more energy into learning. When entire companies embrace a growth mindset, their employees report feeling far more empowered and committed. They also receive far greater organizational support for collaboration and innovation. In contrast, people at primarily fixed mindset companies report more of only one thing: cheating and deception among employees, presumably to gain an advantage in the talent race. This is very important both for our personal and professional lives. People who have a growth mindset view their abilities as something that they can cultivate and develop, whereas people with a fixed mindset view it more as we're born with innate gifts and some people are talented and other people are not. I addressed why the concept of talent is bad in my talent video, and another video about how one of the biggest mistakes we can make in life is by limiting ourselves to our self-perception of certain character traits or talents that we have and not letting ourselves explore other areas of life or other skills or abilities. The whole idea of fixed talents or character traits that we're supposed to follow versus anything else is a limitation in our lives, placing a cap on what we think we can achieve or what we think we should be doing with our lives. On a personal level, this can impact the things that we allow ourselves to experience or pursue in life. I want to start off by looking at the fixed mindset and how that impacts our personal lives. Somebody with a fixed mindset might view their abilities or skills as innate talents that are fixed in life, as in there's nothing that they can do to change that, and there's nothing that they should try to change about that there are simply certain things that they should and shouldn't do in life, and that's that. Somebody with that mindset will view new opportunities as potentially a threat. Imagine if you have the concept of talent or innate ability and you try something new that doesn't work out so great. Somebody with a fixed mindset will look at that as simply, this is not for me. I can't do it, and that might even represent the limit of ability. With that mindset, it can even be scary to try new things because it's like highlighting the limit of your ability. If you can't do something new or it doesn't seem to come to you easy, that can be perceived as an insurmountable limitation, something that you should never try again, and that can signal to you that this whole category of activity is something that you just shouldn't bother with. And this can reinforce our self-perception of what it's suitable for us to do based on our character, talents, or personality. Now consider that somebody with a growth mindset will be open to a lot more opportunities for personal experiences. Somebody with a growth mindset will view it as they're not bounded by talents or character traits, but they can do anything that they want. If it doesn't come to them easy, it's simply because they haven't practiced or experienced that activity enough. It's very empowering to have a growth mindset where you accept that some things may be difficult at first, but that anything is possible with effort and motivation. With a growth mindset, even failures can be perceived as potential growth opportunities. It's an opportunity to learn something new, try something different, and expand our abilities. People with growth mindsets will often view challenges as thrilling and rewarding to overcome. They might seek out new challenges just for that experience and to grow their abilities. A growth mindset challenges us to expand our abilities and seek out new opportunities or create opportunities. Viewing new challenges as opportunities rather than threats also happens to be one of the keys to happiness, as discussed in this video. Our perceptions of what's possible for development isn't even just limited to impacting ourselves personally, but it also has an impact on others due to what's known as the Pygmalion effect. Now, I know that there's some controversy around some of the data on some of these studies, but there are some very clear examples of where this Pygmalion effect can influence others. The basic idea of the Pygmalion effect is that other people are influenced by our perceptions of them. So if we view other people as incapable and treat them that way, then they will often adopt some of that thinking themselves, and they might start to assume themselves that they can't do something or that they shouldn't try something. Whereas if we have the perception that somebody is capable or we have faith or trust in somebody to do something, then a lot of times they will adopt that perception themselves and gain confidence to do that task better. I think that we've all experienced this at some point or another where somebody expresses, hey, you're really good at something, or somebody says, maybe this isn't for you. Think about what that does to your motivation and your interest in that activity. If somebody tells you that an activity isn't for you or you're not good at it, you're probably going to be a lot less motivated. If your boss tells you that you can't do something, that's going to also be demotivating. Now, of course, some people are extra motivated when they're told that they can't do something, but that would be because that person individually has a growth mindset where they see that as a challenge to overcome. In the workplace, this has a very clear impact on development. A lot of times managers will only assign certain tasks to people who they view as having potential or the ability to do something. They won't assign more challenging tasks to the people who they have less faith in. That difference in the opportunities provided to those employees will clearly have an impact down the road when one has more opportunity than the other. Looking at this at an organizational level or from a leadership perspective, we can see how this way of thinking or treating people can have a major impact on the culture of a workplace. Think about how these perspectives and mindset, fixed versus growth, could impact an organization as a whole based on what the leaders at the top have for their own personal views. An organization that's headed by leadership with a fixed mindset will typically be very risk averse and unambitious. They'll see it as their company or their group of employees has a fixed set of skills or abilities that can't be overcome, that they should just focus on those tasks, and once they reach their goals, they should just maintain from there. A lot of times in fixed mindset organizations, mistakes are not tolerated. Mistakes are purely seen as a shortcoming or failure, and mistakes are typically not seen as any form of opportunity for growth or learning. New ideas are often seen as dangerous to consider and not worth pursuing. Strict conformity is highly valued. This often also creates a zero-sum culture of fear and internal competition. When workers are viewed as unchanging and replaceable, there will be a very high premium placed on standing out above others at all costs, including cheating and sabotage. This creates a cutthroat work environment dominated by office politics. And those office politics can kill collaborative spirit, create factionalism, and build resentment. Skill development within fixed organizations is often an afterthought if it's considered at all. Resources are viewed as unchanging and not worth investing in. There's an expectation that hired staff should be experienced professionals from the start with no further development required. In these organizations, seeking new skills is often perceived as either a sign of weakness or a threat by those who are unwilling to pursue their own self-improvement. This creates an environment of developmental complacency where it's perceived as there being no need to try to do anything new or different than has been done before. Now consider organizations that are headed by leadership with a growth mindset. They will often be ambitious and see opportunities everywhere. They will often be more willing to take risks and are motivated to try new things despite the risk of failure. In growth organizations, mistakes are tolerated because they're viewed as a necessary step on the road to innovation. Failure is viewed as a constructive learning experience rather than an opportunity for punishment or reprimand. In these organizations, creative thinking is encouraged and innovation is celebrated. There's trust in employees and a belief that skills are possible to develop and grow. Because of that belief, there's a lot more investment in employee development and retention. Skill building opportunities are highly valued and they're provided for the collective benefit of the team. These organizations will naturally be internally collaborative, constantly seeking out new opinions and ideas. These organizations will be focused on problem solving, not office politics, which creates a much better work atmosphere and better employee well-being. Growth mindset organizations tend to have happier employees, better retention, more innovation, and a better workplace culture. In short, a fixed mindset sets limitations on our personal lives and professional lives, whereas a growth mindset creates opportunities everywhere. True innovation requires taking risks and trying new ideas, even if that sometimes involves failures or setbacks personally or professionally. A lot of people will also naturally think, of course I have a growth mindset. I'm open to new ideas and opportunities. But keep in mind, nobody with a fixed mindset thinks of themselves that way. Most people don't think about themselves as being limited by their mindset or ideas. And a lot of people with a fixed mindset might think of themselves as simply being appropriately risk averse. There's a very fine line between being appropriately risk averse and stagnant complacency. As Professor Dweck emphasizes, we all have a tendency to use a fixed mindset sometimes, and sometimes that's okay, but it's important to be mindful of that and recognize when we're using a fixed mindset when maybe we should adopt a growth perspective. And the way to do this is to constantly be assessing your own mindset for any given task and how that might be impacting your performance or approach to a problem. By being aware of these ideas and assessing your own mindset as you approach problem solving, you can be much better equipped to solve those problems and approach things the right way. If you've enjoyed this video, you can subscribe below or you can check out some of these other videos.